Women belong in all places where decisions are being made. It shouldn't be that women are the exception. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Ruth Bader Ginsburg wasn't just offering a polite suggestion when she said this. She was issuing a challenge to the status quo, shaking the very foundations of a society that had long sidelined women from the halls of power. For centuries, politics has been portrayed as a game of kings, presidents, and prime ministers. A men's club where women could only hope for a supportive role if they were lucky. But look closer, and you'll see that women weren't just waiting in the wings. They were the unsung directors of the political theater. They shaped the dialogue, influenced decisions, and in many cases quietly but powerfully drove the course of history. It's time we give credit where it's due and recognize the women who have always been at the heart of political power. Throughout history, the narrative has often been one-dimensional. Men as the decision-makers and women as the silent supporters. This black and white portrayal is not just an oversimplification, it's a distortion of the truth. Women have been integral to the political life for as long as politics has existed, but their contributions have often been overshadowed, if not outright erased from the pages of history. Think about the phrase, "Behind every great man, there's a great woman." While it's often used to describe a dutiful wife who stands by her husband's side, the reality is far more complex. These women weren't just standing by, they were shaping, guiding, and in many cases directing the course of their husbands' careers and the destinies of nations. From the ancient queens who ruled empires, to the first ladies who influenced policy from the shadows, women have always played a critical role in politics. Yet their stories are often reduced to footnotes, their voices drowned out by the louder, more dominant narratives of their male counterparts. In this exploration, we'll uncover the hidden histories of some of these remarkable women. We'll look at how their influence not only supported, but also directly shaped the political decisions that have defined our world. By doing so, we aim to challenge the traditional narratives and offer a more nuanced understanding of the role women have played and continue to play in the political arena. Let's begin our journey through history with Eleanor Roosevelt, one of the most influential women in American history. Eleanor was not just the wife of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, she was his most trusted advisor, a tireless advocate for social justice, and a pioneering figure in the fight for human rights. While FDR was busy dealing with the Great Depression and World War II, Eleanor was championing causes that were often too controversial for her husband to touch. She used her platform as First Lady to address issues like racial discrimination, women's rights, and poverty. Through her newspaper column, speeches, and public appearances, Eleanor connected with the American people in a way that few political figures ever have. Eleanor's influence extended far beyond the White House. She played a crucial role in the founding of the United Nations and was instrumental in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Her tireless work in this arena laid the groundwork for the global human rights movement. Eleanor Roosevelt wasn't just a supportive wife, she was a force of nature, a human whose influence on American and global politics cannot be overstated. Moving across the Atlantic, we encounter another formidable woman, Catherine de' Medici, the Queen of France during the 16th century. Catherine's story is one of power, intrigue, and survival in one of the most tumultuous periods of European history. Married into the French royal family at the age of 14, Catherine quickly found herself navigating the dangerous waters of court politics. When her husband, King Henry II, died unexpectedly, Catherine became the regent for her young son and effectively ruled France during a period of intense religious conflict known as the French Wars of Religion. Catherine was a master of political strategy. She used marriage alliances, diplomacy, and at times ruthless tactics to maintain her family's power and keep France from descending into chaos. Her influence was so significant that she was often referred to as the Shadow Queen of France. Despite the challenges she faced, including multiple assassination attempts and the constant threat of rebellion, Catherine de' Medici managed to keep her family in power and maintain stability in France during a period of extreme turmoil. Her legacy, however, is often overshadowed by the men who came before and after her. But make no mistake, Catherine de' Medici was one of the most powerful political figures of her time, and her influence shaped the course of French history. Back in the United States, another woman was quietly but powerfully influencing the course of the nation's history: Abigail Adams. As the wife of John Adams, the second president of the United States, Abigail was much more than a first lady. She was John's closest advisor, a sharp political mind whose opinions were deeply respected by her husband. Abigail's letters to John, many of which have survived, reveal a woman of keen intellect, strong convictions, and a deep understanding of the political issues of her time. Abigail Adams is perhaps best known for her famous letter to John, in which she urged him to remember the ladies when drafting the new laws for the United States. At a time when women had virtually no political rights, Abigail's advocacy for women's inclusion in the new American Republic was nothing short of revolutionary. Although her plea was largely ignored at the time, Abigail Adams laid the groundwork for the women's rights movement that would emerge in the following century. Her influence on John Adams and her role in shaping the early years of the United States cannot be overstated. These women, and many others like them, faced immense challenges in their pursuit of political influence. They operated in a world where their contributions were often dismissed or diminished, where they had to navigate the complex dynamics of power and gender with skill and subtlety. But despite these obstacles, they left an indelible mark on history, proving that political power is not just about holding office, it's about shaping the decisions that change the world. Now let's turn our attention to a pivotal moment in history, one where a woman's influence directly altered the course of a major political event. The story of Edith Wilson is one of the most fascinating yet least known in American political history. After President Woodrow Wilson suffered a debilitating stroke in 1919, his wife Edith effectively became the acting president of the United States. For over a year, Edith managed the day-to-day affairs of the presidency, deciding which issues were important enough to bring to her husband's attention and which could be handled by her alone. She controlled access to the president, met with cabinet members, and even reviewed and decided on legislative matters. Although Edith herself would later downplay her role, there is little doubt that she wielded significant influence during this period. Some historians argue that Edith Wilson's tenure as the de facto president was a critical moment in American history, as she played a key role in shaping the nation's policies during the final months of World War I and the beginning of the post-war era. Edith Wilson's story is a powerful reminder of the often hidden influence women have had on political decisions. While she never held an actual office, her impact on the course of American history was profound. Her role during this period challenges our understanding of political power and raises important questions about the nature of leadership and influence. As we move into the modern era, the fight for women's representation in politics has become more visible and more urgent. The 20th and 21st centuries have seen significant strides in women's political participation, but the journey has been far from easy. The legacy of women like Eleanor Roosevelt, Catherine de' Medici, and Abigail Adams continues to inspire new generations of women leaders, but the challenges they faced are still very much present today. Women in politics today face a unique set of challenges, from gender bias and discrimination to the constant scrutiny of their personal lives. Despite these obstacles, women are increasingly taking on leadership roles around the world. Figures like Angela Merkel, the long-serving Chancellor of Germany, and Kamala Harris, the first female Vice President of the United States, have shattered glass ceilings and opened doors for future generations of women. However, the fight for gender equality in politics is far from over. Women remain underrepresented in political offices globally, and the road to true equality is still long and filled with obstacles. But the progress that has been made is undeniable, and it is a testament to the courage, resilience, and determination of the women who came before and the women who are leading the charge today. In recognizing the role of women in politics, we are not just acknowledging their contributions, we are rewriting the narrative. We are challenging the outdated notion that politics is a man's world, and instead embracing the reality that women have always been and always will be essential to the political process. From ancient queens to modern leaders, women have shaped the course of history in ways that are often overlooked but are no less significant. As we continue to fight for gender equality in politics, it is crucial that we remember the lessons of the past. The stories of women like Eleanor Roosevelt, Catherine de Medici, Abigail Adams, and Edith Wilson remind us that political power is not just about holding office. It's about influence, and influence knows no gender. By recognizing and honoring the contributions of women in politics, we can create a more inclusive and equitable future for all. So, what do you think? Have women in politics been getting the recognition they deserve? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to check out our next video about the unsung heroes of history.